All right, so we're going to continue a little bit about Shidduchim and divorce. Today I want to talk a little bit about communication, which always seems to be somewhat of a problem. And to each and every one of us, that relationship that we have could become a different experience. The way I experience relationship is different than him or you, and so on and so forth. So therefore, a relationship, the way you see relationship, might be different than your potential spouse or even already a spouse might have. Therefore, it is very recommended to express your expectation of the quality of relationship, of what this relationship means to you, to your spouse or to your potential spouse. Better off to the potential spouse. For example, I expect a relationship to be, I don't want you to butt into my business. I'll be a loyal husband and so on and so forth. I don't need you to ask me what to do. Or she says, I don't want to hear that, or for example, for me, relationship is do whatever you want, as long as you bring me flowers on Friday, and whatever that will be. I don't know, whatever that will be. But it's important that you tell your other person what you expect of their relationship. Remember, we're trying to approach it from a very practical matter. And regardless of all the jokes that we have, that women always like to dig in to know exactly where you and men just like I don't care, whatever. Put all these pre-notions to the side, all this I would call it jokes that people have. Put them to the side and really try to understand, first of all, what are your needs as people, as a couple also, but first as a people. Everybody has different needs, and that's why you're looking for a relationship. There are people who are looking for different things, and that's why they have it, and they have different needs. So, but you need to know, first of all, what is that you are looking for. If you don't know what you're looking for, and all of a sudden you start complaining to your I hate the word partner, but to your wife or to your husband, if you all of a sudden complain and say, listen, what are you complaining about? You never told me what you want. What am I, a prophet? And by the way, if you would have told me what you wanted, I might not have been married to you. So you need to, first of all, know what it is that you want. We don't think about it. We don't want to think about it. Because we think that if we will think about what we want, it would reduce our chances to get married. No, on the contrary. If you know what you want, you're going to get exactly what you need much faster than you think. If I'm going to send you, for example, to Macy's, right? I'll tell you, go ahead, go buy something for Macy's. It's $100, go buy something for Macy's. Okay, what should I buy? I don't know, buy something. Well, I don't know what to buy. Do I buy a shirt? Do I buy a pot? Underpants? What do I buy? Something. You need to know exactly what you're looking for. You need to know what your needs are. And then you go to the assortment of the people even before you date. No, this is not for me. Or you speak to the person, and after 1 or 2 dates, say, listen, this is not really well. You're a wonderful person, but it's not what I'm looking for. Be very honest about it. I'm really looking to a person that will have that, and I'm looking to get this out of the relationship, and I want my relationship to look like this. Now, if we both thinking about the same thing, that we both want something similar in the relationship, okay, so let's go for another date. If not, what's the point? You're getting simply frustrated, and that's the mistake that people make. People don't think, and they say, oh, she's a nice girl, he's lying to her, she's lying to him, a cult of affair, everybody's lying to everybody, big party, they're getting married, a year later they get divorced. Or this is the problem is starting, and then there's some chachams, it's quite a depeche, will tell them, go have some babies, everything's going to be okay, then they're going to have problems again, then another stupid person will come, and another baby, and before you know, they're divorced with 3 or 4 kids or 5 kids and so on and so on. I can't take this anymore. But that's exactly what it is. You need to start communicating. You need to share those thoughts with your other person who you're dating, or with your wife or your husband. Even after you're married, things change. So listen, what I was looking for in a relationship is, can we make this work? Okay, what is also that you want? It's not always about me, but what is it you want? You should check the pulse. Even when you're married, check the pulse and say, listen, where are we going with this, in the relationship? Again, let's go to the business model. If we go to a business model, every now and then you want to see if you're meeting the criteria of what your goals are. You see it in the stock market. They're expecting the stock to go like this. They're expected to have X amount of revenues. They're expected to have X amount of, and you're being really evaluated by those things. So, but you can't tell me that you're going to be successful if you are never going to check or even set some expectation in the relationship. When there's no expectation whatsoever, usually negligence comes. For example, if you don't have any expectations of your fruit trees to bear fruit, you're never going to do anything needed to take actions for it to bear fruit. For example, to weed around it, to trim it, to prune it, to pay attention. Maybe there's something going on with the tree. I need to take a preemptive strike on the thing you never know. Because you don't care. So therefore, Mimele is not going to be any fruit. And that's, by the way, if you don't prune a fruit tree, eventually it's not going to give fruit. So the same thing here in a relationship. You need to, but that's a mean of communication. You need to talk about it. You need to say to your person exactly what it is. And you should know that creating and building good, communication in the relationship would really bring a certain level of healthy intimacy. Intimacy is not just a physical action, that mechanics of what we call sex. Intimacy is beyond that. It's that emotion that it's really, you kind of merging with one another. And that's a tremendous feeling when you know what the other person wants and you act upon it, and the other person knows what you want and they act upon it. And that's how you develop intimacy and love. Because, wow, you read my mind. How did you know I want it? Because, we always communicate. I know what you want. So that's something that is very important. That would lead and to intimacy, but that's a measure of trust. If you don't trust the person, and the same thing we say, emunah, right? Emun. If you don't, because you didn't believe in me. So you don't believe that I could, when you don't share it with the person, you don't really believe that the person is capable understanding what your needs are. So merely you don't reach out to them, so therefore the relationship falls, because there's no intimacy unless there is trust. Intimacy and trust goes hand in hand. And that's something that, I'm sorry to say, you cannot compromise on. You cannot compromise. But it starts, first of all, with you. You need to know what you want, and you need to know what you're looking for. And you should know that if you, for example, find yourself like in a journey on investigating and exploring that intimacy with a supporting person, I'll give up. I use the term partner, right? And you do so from the beginning, so therefore you know that you choose the right person from the very beginning. And that goes in your Shidduch, and that's something that you should pay attention when you go on the date. Is the person selfish? Is the person, knows what they want, and so on and so forth? If that is not there, it's not the person for you. Unless you're some kind of a masochist, and you're on a path of self-destruction. I mean, some people are. But that's something very important. On that, I'm somewhat of a believer, if things don't really work and so on and so forth, is to actually go to a family therapy, or to go to someone who is really knowledgeable in understanding the dynamics of a relationship. And that is almost like going to, let's say, Chinese medicine or Oriental medicine. It's really a preventive measure. And many times I said to young couples, I said, if you decide that you're going to get married, I think that you should go and have, 2-3 sessions with a family therapist who would give you the ability to actually communicate with one another. So, to be able to work on this communication, on this relationship communication. And because we're talking before about intimacy, so you know that being intimate really demands from each one of the people in that relationship, of the two people in their relationship, to basically peel themselves, to really reveal themselves to the other person, and the other person should do it like that as well. You should be able to shed all the facade that you put on yourself, and it's a very, very complicated process that not all of us could do alone. Some people are capable of doing so, but if you feel that you can't, you really need to go to somebody who's going to help you do that. And maybe if you find yourself a good, dynamic family therapist, it would help you really shed all these things from yourself so you really can get to the core of really who you are. Because again, coming to the point that if you don't know really who you are, if you deny that inner exploration of who you really are, you are not going to find the right person. Because the right person for you will be, Sam, don't let me keep you up. The right person for you will be only a person that would fit you. But if you don't know who you are, so therefore you're never going to find the right person. And then it's something that needs tremendous courage and work. And so before you go into, and that's what gets me very upset, when people are rushing to get married, and not necessarily of age. Age has a lot of factors to it. I think that getting married, 18, 21, 22, even 23, I think is wrong. Because you didn't have, 99% of the people were not at that age of their lives interested in self-exploration, into a journey to the center of the earth, into the center of yourself. They're not interested in that. They're not even aware that there's such a journey needed to be taken. As a result of that, they make mistakes. Now, but you could be also 26, 27, 28 years old and you never realize that. So now your journey starts. People are referring to marriage the wrong way. And that is why we have so much failure in marriage life. Though if you are a person that started this journey, and it's a spiritual journey, and as much as many people would like to believe they are, most of us are not spiritual. Spiritual doesn't mean to take a joint and to grow pale and dance in the middle of the street. Being spiritual means creating silence within yourself, reaching down to the core of yourself, to feel this emptiness inside of you, that place, and fill it up with something. But yet there's nothing to feel if you haven't reached that place inside of you, that empty space inside of you. So you could be 26 years old and you're not ready to get married. You're not ready. So going about age is not a criteria of getting married. Age is not a criteria of getting married. But rather your spiritual state is what determines that. So if you're interested in getting married, start exploring really who you are. This is not a sport, and then what happened, you bring kids to the world, and those kids become miserable because you are miserable in your relationship, and then it shows. And then the cycle goes on and on and on and on and on. Everybody is interested in tikkun olam, meanwhile we're all destroying it. Because we are ourselves not content, not happy. And then add on the pressures of life and it becomes a catastrophe. So that's my suggestion to you. Have a good day.